Welcome to the Betting Pros PGA Podcast. I'm Pat Fitzmaurice, joined as always by Mr. Bo McBrayer. 1 week of the FedEx Cup playoffs down, 2 weeks to go. Today we'll give you a full betting preview of the BMW Championship in Castle Rock, Colorado. We'll also recap the FedEx St. Jude Championship, and we will give you our one and done picks for the week at the end of the show. The Betting Pros PGA Podcast is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog is the place to go for best ball fantasy football contests, but you might not have known that Underdog has golf contests too. Visit UnderdogFantasy.com or find Underdog in the App Store. And don't forget to register with the promo code BPGolf to claim your special pick and to get a first-time deposit offer of up to $250 in bonus cash. More on Underdog and its golf contests a little later. Hideki Matsuyama wins the FedEx St. Jude Championship by 2 shots over Xander Schauffele and Viktor Hovland. It looked like it was going to be a cakewalk for Matsuyama, but the Japanese star gave us some drama at the end. Gave me some sweaty palms at the end, stumbling on the back 9 before righting the ship just in time. Matsuyama stepped to the 12th tee at TPC Southwind with a 5-shot lead on Sunday. His next 4 holes, bogey, par, bogey, double bogey. It looked like the wheels were off. Hideki had slipped into a tie for the lead. Those of us who bet him were sweating bullets at that point. And then after a par on the par 5 16th hole, Matsuyama rolled in a 26-footer on number 17 to get his lead back. And then he stuck his approach on 18 within 6 feet, sank the birdie putt, hoisted the trophy. Matsuyama opened the tournament with rounds of 65, 64, 64, shot an even par 70 on Sunday, but that was good enough. Hideki finished 17 under par. As mentioned earlier, Xander Schauffele and Viktor Hovland finished tied for second at 15 under. Scotty Scheffler finished fourth by himself at 14 under. Kind of lurked throughout the final round, but just couldn't get the birdie machine rolling on Sunday until it was too late. Bo, your thoughts on the FedEx St. Jude Championship and the big win for Hideki Matsuyama?
I mean, it's a great call by you there, Pat. It was a great call by you. And down the stretch, I kind of resigned the fact that Hideki was going to win going away because he looked that solid. Then he gave me some false hope that my Viktor Hovland 35-1 ticket was going to cash out because for a moment there, for one hole, Viktor was the solo leader. and that didn't last long because then Xander came up and made a birdie, and then it was all Hideki after that. What a great tournament for Hideki. That was a great call. Big win for the show either way. I think it was going to happen either way, where we were just locked into it. It was locked in. It was a great tournament. Scotty wasn't quite as sharp as he usually is, which ho-hum 4th place. Yeah, ho-hum played terrible for his standards. Hit a couple really fat iron shots, which you never see from Scotty Scheffler. But overall, great tournament. I love the fact that they trimmed the field down for the playoffs because it made for really exciting golf down all the way down the stretch. We didn't know what was going to happen. That golf course set up really well for risk reward, and Hideki was really risky on 18. He only needed a par. He went over the water off the tee. He went over the water to take the aggressive line on approach. He pulled off both shots, and that's a deserving champion.
Yeah, I was surprised he took that approach after rinsing his tee shot on the par 3 on the back 9. I think it was 14. So yeah, and boy, Hideki putted really well. That wasn't really why
substitute caddy and everything that happened to him in London on the way back from Paris, and he still came out there and he was lights out.
Impressive. And a good call by you and Hovland, Bo. I was a little surprised when you touted him last week. He hadn't been in great form, but he did put it all together. And now he returns to the BMW Championship, where he was pretty special last year. We'll talk more about that in a second. And we will get to the BMW Championship in just a minute. But first,
our friends at Underdog Fantasy are letting you make picks on your favorite golfers all season long. Just pick higher or lower on selected stats for 2 to 5 golfers, and you can win up to 20 times your money in a single day. You can also make rivals picks, choosing, for example, which of 2 golfers will shoot a better score in a round. Golf picks can be combined with player stats from other sports too. Go sign up at Underdog Fantasy with the promo code BPGolf to claim your special pick and to get a first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash.
And now we are on to the BMW Championship, the second leg of the 3-leg FedEx Cup playoffs. The 70-man playoff field has been trimmed down to 50 players for this event, and we will be down to 30 for next week's Tour Championship. This will, as with last week's event, be a no-cut event. So the BMW Championship will be played at Castle Pines Golf Club in Castle Rock, Colorado, just outside Denver. It's a par 72 covering 8,130 yards. Yes, over 8,000 yards. An absurdly long course. In fact, this will be the longest layout in PGA Tour history. But don't forget that golf balls travel much further than usual because of the high altitude. This is a gorgeous looking Jack Nicklaus design with the Rocky Mountains providing a spectacular backdrop. Castle Pines used to host the International, a lower level tour event that used to use the modified Stableford scoring system. That's the system where you gain or lose points depending on your score for a hole. So the higher your score, the better. But this is going to be good old fashioned stroke play. Now, let's get back to the elevation. Castle Pines is more than 6,000 feet above sea level, so shots are going to carry about 10% farther than they normally would. I don't know if the Bombers are going to have a huge advantage here, maybe a small one, but I don't think the course is going to eliminate the shorter hitters from contention. The fairways are a little wider than average, but there is trouble awaiting errant drives, water hazards, pine trees, 4-inch thick rough. So the greens at Castle Pines are a mix of bentgrass and POA, and they are fast. So no reason to mention past winners of this event, since this will be the first time the BMW is being played at Castle Pines. But for the record, Viktor Hovland is the defending BMW champion. He shot a final round 61 at Olympia Fields in Chicago to beat Scotty Scheffler and Matt Fitzpatrick by 2 shots last year. Hovland went absolutely bonkers down the stretch, shooting a 7-under par 28 on the back 9. He was completely en fuego. The weather forecast for this week's tournament, highs in the low to mid 80s throughout the week, winds of around 10 miles per hour for most of the tournament, chances for afternoon showers and thunderstorms on Thursday and Friday. Bo, what is your take on the Castle Pines Golf Club?
Well, I'm really glad that they moved that Stableford system out of the PGA Tour, only to bring it back at my home tournament here in NorCal with the Barracuda, which uses it for some reason. Just, why can't we just have like 4 match play tournaments a year? Yes. And then the rest stroke play, and get whatever the Stableford thing is. It doesn't belong, and nobody likes it. Nobody likes it. Get rid of it. I'm glad that mostly is gone, but we don't have a match play event. What's wrong with that? I love match play. This golf course is pretty fair. If you do the math, elevation math, which growing up in the mountains, I kind of do the elevation math because I've played mountain golf before, is 6,500. It's a 10% difference. So your 8,100 yards is actually closer to 7,300 in practicality, which is about tour average. You're looking at an all-around golfer who can find fairways. Distance is an advantage here, but not a huge one. It's not a bomb and gouge course, but of course, your longer hitters are going to do well here. But I think that putting is going to be huge on this golf course. Scrambling and bogey avoidance are going to be huge. So all-around golfers, I mean, you got 50 of the best in this field. 50 of the very best are in this field. So I think anybody in this field could practically win this thing, and it's going to be up to us to find the right lines at this moment and kind of judge the trends on how these guys are playing, because there's been some surprises the last couple of weeks. A couple of them we've called on this show, where you just have to kind of read the tea leaves on who's going the right direction and who might not be.
Yeah, the cream usually does rise to the top in these types of events, but if you look at the 50-man field, I didn't see too many names where I just completely discounted their chances
No,
of winning.
I
There are
don't think
not
there
many
are
of
any.
those guys. Yeah. Now, if you want a chance to score a signed Amari Cooper jersey for free, courtesy of our friends at pristineauction.com, all you need to do is head to bettingpros.com/contest, complete the form, and either download the Betting Pros app, leave a review for the Betting Pros podcast, or subscribe to our social media channels at Betting Pros on X and TikTok and at Betting Pros NFL on Instagram. The more actions you complete, the more entries you receive. We'll be announcing a winner right here on the channel, so make sure to turn on those notifications to be alerted when new episodes are up and to claim your prize. All right, let's look at the odds for the BMW Championship. All odds are courtesy of DraftKings as of Monday afternoon. Scotty Scheffler is the favorite at plus 330, followed by Xander Schauffele at plus 550, Rory McIlroy at plus 1200, and Colin Morikawa at plus 1400. Victor Hovland and Hideki Matsuyama are plus 1800. Patrick Cantlay and Ludwig Oberg are plus 2000. Tommy Fleetwood is plus 2500. Tony Finau plus 2800. And Wyndham Clark and Sam Burns are plus 3,000. Who do you like from among the players with the shortest odds, Bo?
So right off the bat, Rory McIlroy is back into play this week. This is a kind of a course that fits his eye very well. This is it's a long golf course, which even with the elevation change is going to be daunting for certain players. Being able to judge distance from those kinds of areas is tricky, especially if you're hitting longer clubs in at those distances. Rory's going to be in some more comfortable numbers than the average player because he just hits the ball farther. And that kind of advantage really does carry even more into this. So I like Rory, especially getting positive plus 1,200 on a guy like that is really good. I do think I think the scoring is going to be really favorable this week. I think that these guys are going low. I think they're going really low. I think this is going to be one of those birdie fests where the playoffs get a little exciting. So I'm looking for guys that can make a ton of birdies. Rory, of course, is in that department. Scotty is there, but I just think he's too short. And when I ran my model, I actually found him to be the second best, not the best. Number one of my model is a guy I touted last week who nearly won, and it's the defending BMW champion, Victor Hovland. Number one in my model at plus 1,800. That's where I'm going to be really heavy on, because this guy's rounding into his type of form where he's just as good as Scotty or Xander or anybody else in this field, and we're getting such a soft line on him in a 50-man event. I really, really, really love Victor Hovland this week, even more than I liked him last week. But now that I've seen what kind of shape he's in, this is going to be fun.
Yeah. All right. So I am interested in Hovland for sure. After your call last week and the fact that you sort of picked him to emerge and now you're picking him again is compelling. I can't go with you on Rory, Bo. I mean, he was 68th in a 70-man field last week at Memphis, 11 over par on his last 3 rounds. I still worry that there might be scar tissue accumulated from that that painful loss at the I can't do it, man. Yeah, Scheffler, is this one of our weeks where we live bet him? I mean, yeah. plus 330 in a field this good. It's just
we didn't get a chance last week because he was kind of hanging around the whole time, and he always gets overinflated when he's close to the lead. So it was kind of a nice week off of Scotty last week. I have a feeling he'll be hanging around again this week. But if we get lucky and he gets off to a slow start, then we can hit that line and hope he turns it back around, because he's never out of it really.
No. He's not, and we've been dropping fun Scotty stats all year, and probably the most amazing one is that since January, he's finished out of the top 10 in one tournament, the U.S. Open.
It was his last miscut was 2 years ago.
That's amazing. So Xander Schauffele has recorded 3 straight top 10s and 9 straight top 15s. Played well at FedEx St. Jude, tying for second, but plus 550 just a little too short for you, Bo?
It's too short in an event where I expect scoring to be very favorable, which kind of brings the whole field into the fold. And Xander in a birdie fest, it's not really a style. He's a grinder. He
Sure.
plays great when the conditions are tough. He's formidable when the conditions are tough. But in a birdie fest like I expect this to be, it's going to be tough for him to keep pace and making birdies like he's going to have to, because this field is loaded with talent, and a lot of the pretty much every guy from top to bottom we've seen go on complete birdie barrages to win tournaments. So yeah, it's for me it's just too short of a number for Xander in an event where I expect the scoring to be like a free for all.
Yeah. Now, Hideki Matsuyama on a roll, won last week, finished third at the Olympics a few weeks ago, and the odds have shortened though. Now plus 1,800. I got him at plus 2,800 last week, and he went off and in some spots at plus 2,500, I think. So Patrick Cantlay has won the BMW Championship back to back, 2021 and 2022, of course, in different venues. He has finished top 12 in 3 of his last 4 events, so he's getting into better form. And one guy who kind of interests me here, Bo, Wyndham Clark, got off to a good start this season, scuffled for a while in the late spring, and now he seems to be getting back into form with top 15s in 4 of his last 5 events. And oh, by the way, Bo, Wyndham Clark is a Denver native.
Yeah,
I'm a little
he's
bit
used to
interested
mountain golf.
in Wyndham Clark.
He's
Yes,
right
sir.
here on my betting slip. Right here. Bet slip, Wyndham Clark plus 3,000. It's not just that he's from Colorado. It's not just that he's playing well. It's both of those things. And Castle Pines also sets up for a guy like him where he's a long hitter and he's an outstanding putter. This is a course that is fit for Wyndham Clark. His style of play kind of does say, "Hey, I grew up playing at elevation because I like to bomb the ball out there and then make putts from all over the place." These are big greens. They're really fast. They're going to have some nuance to them that these guys aren't used to. I think Wyndham Clark is live at 30-1. That's a great line for him, especially with how well he played cashing those bets for us last week on the top 10 market. That was really nice to see, especially when we got odds of 60-1 on him last week out of out of the woods.
Agreed. All right, moving on to the mid-range options. Corey Connors, Billy Horschel, and Aaron Rai are plus 3,500. At plus 4,000 are Sungjae Im, Russell Henley, Cameron Young, and Justin Thomas. Adam Scott and Sahith Theegala are plus 4,500. Robert McIntyre and Jason Day are plus 5,000. And at plus 5,500 are Ben An, Akshay Bhatia, Shane Lowry, Matt Fitzpatrick, and Davis Thompson. How about any of these players, Bo?
Just one of them catches my eye, and that's Will Zalatoris. Willie Z, 65-1. He comes in at number 7 in my model because he's actually pretty average instead of being below average at putting. When you kind of do the fast POA bent grass greens, he ranks kind of in the middle of the pack. And if you're looking at a ball striker's paradise like this golf course with his ability to putt better when the greens are fast and tricky, I think that Willie Z is live here, and that's a great line on a guy again who played better last week than we've seen him play. Will Zalatoris is he's still a good long hitter. He's still an accurate T-ball player and an outstanding iron player. I think Will Zalatoris at that line is very interesting. I think that's a lot of firepower really far down the board that I was kind of hoping would be there, and I was rewarded by checking it this morning.
How do you feel about Billy Horschel, who's finished top 10 in 3 straight events? Is this just not the sort of course? I mean, he's a guy who likes to grind it out on the tougher courses. Maybe too much of a birdie fest for Billy.
Yeah, and last week was kind of a Bermuda specialist call on when I did the one and done, which worked out in my favor. But yeah, it's a scoring fest. It's not Bermuda. Billy Horschel's he's more of your sea level Bermuda course type player.
Yeah. Corey Connors, terrific ball striker. Finished top 10 in 4 of his last 8 events, but of course, he is not exactly a great putter, and this is potentially a very demanding putting course. Aaron Rai, a much better putter than Corey Connors, won the Wyndham Championship 2 weeks ago, tied for 16th last week in Memphis, has finished top 20 in 7 of his last 8. Aaron Rai's in really good form. He's interesting. Now, Bo, it doesn't seem like this is a great event for long shots, but is there anyone with odds of 60 to 1 or longer you maybe have your eye on?
Only one, and it's a guy who's been playing absolutely dreadful this year. His numbers slipped to 100 to 1. He's still a great golfer. I think he's in the wrong headspace, but still has advanced to this stage. Max Homa. Max Homa 100 to 1, played pretty well the first round last week, then just the wheels fell off with a Friday 78. He seemed disinterested after that. Still made the top 50. I think that him being kind of still in the running will somehow kickstart. I mean, he's still got so much talent, and in a birdie fest, Max Homa can really make noise if he finds the right form off the tee. Max Homa at 100 to 1 is just a misprice for what he can do. And it doesn't take a lot of investment to believe in a guy to turn his season around in the playoffs. So I'll take a shot just because I don't like to see him struggle, and he's a really good fit for this course if he can, figure out what's going on in between those ears.
It is strange to see a player of Max Homa's caliber at odds that long. So I can understand the appeal. Max Grazerman, who's at 75 to 1. He was second at the 3M Open last month, second at the Wyndham Championship 2 weeks ago, and he's finished no worse than 33rd in any of his last 8 events. So Grazerman's been in pretty good form, and that's an interesting price on him. All right, but what does your betting card look like as of now?
I got Rory McIlroy plus 1,200, Viktor Hovland plus 1,800, Wyndham Clark plus 3,000, Willie Z at plus 6,500, and Max Homa plus 10,000.
All right. I am going to go with Collin Morikawa at plus 1,400. I think this is his time, man. I feel like he's going to be dialed in with the irons, and that's going to help him a lot on this course. Wyndham Clark plus 3,000. I think we both are very much into him this week. I'm going with Billy Horschel at plus 3,500. Not really. Maybe it's not the sort of course that suits him where, maybe the winning score is like 11 or 12 under, but we'll see. He's been playing really well lately. And I'm going to take a flyer on Max Grazerman, both outright and a top 10 at plus 400. Now on to the one and done competition. Bo extended his lead last week. We are into the big money events. He had Billy Horschel, who finished tied for 10th and earned $520,000. I had Justin Thomas, underwhelming. He tied for 30th, good for $130,000. Bo has now sailed past the $12 million mark for the year and leads me by just over $4 million. It's a big lead, but we do have 2 pretty big money events left here. Yep. I picked first this week, and I'm going to go with Collin Morikawa. Who are you taking, Bo?
I noticed, don't think it hasn't gone unnoticed that you've saved some of your heavy hitters for the last 2 tournaments, most notably Scotty Scheffler, who has $18 million at the end of his rainbow next week if he doesn't completely choke it away, which can happen. The only way I lose this whole one and done season is if Scotty Scheffler wins it all next week. So you got a pretty good shot at it. I think I'm going to go Sam Burns this week. I haven't used him. He's playing great. Sam Burns is my pick, and I'll have to figure out if I have anybody left in the top 30 next week to even throw somebody out there, because I've burned all my big boppers, all the guys that are surprises. It's been a good season, but I think that I just have to pray that Xander or somebody else wins the Tour Championship next week. Otherwise, you're going to take it with Scotty.
And that's all for this week's show. Thank you to our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. Sign up for Underdog with the promo code BP Golf to claim your special pick and to get a first-time deposit offer of up to $250 in bonus cash. And please come join Bo and I again next week when we will be back for our final show of the year, previewing the Tour Championship. Until then, so long, everyone.